What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fan? This is JB right here, host of the Behind the Bench podcast network and channel. Just want to give a quick shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shy, Kelvin, and Jermaine. And for everyone tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make the podcast the best that it can be. Now check this out. There's been a lot of debate about this issue over the past, 17 years now. It's been a lot of debate about, well, at first, during the 90s, the mid-90s, the NBA started the influx of prep players, high school players, to enter the pros. So, if you entering the NBA route of high school, chances are you're 18 years old. 18 years old. And it became such a concern that by 2001, we saw a high school player selected with the number one pick for the first time in NBA draft history, when Kwame Brown was drafted number one in his class of 2001 by the Washington Wizards. Now, if he had went to college, because I believe he was probably pushed to enter early because of the money factor, Kwame Brown could have developed his game, and he could have been a more sound player than starting out than what he was known for as a rookie. Now, he wasn't the only player who we come to realize never should have entered the NBA out of high school. For every one player who was a success, such as, Shawn Kemp, he was the only player that entered the NBA right out of high school in the 80s, and that was in 1989. And then by the mid-90s, Kevin Garnett, he kind of started that wave of the influx of high school players. He entered the league in 94. Then we saw Kobe Bryant enter in 96. And then we saw McGrady enter like in 97. Then, Darius Miles, Jermaine O'Neal, Tyson Chandler, Eddie Curry. Just saw a whole wave of them. I want to say DeJuan Wagner too. And I believe the last player, or the youngest player ever drafted out of high school, was Andrew Bynum. He was a couple months younger than what LeBron James was when he entered the NBA, and then Kobe Bryant. All three entered the NBA at 18 years of age, right out of high school. Then after that, they implemented this one and done rule. Now, I'm looking at this graph here, and this is a result of what happens when you push players into the league. They may have all the athletic ability in the world, or as we say, as far as lingo, he can have all the hops in the world. He could jump out the gym, but the game has not matured. So what happens is you push him into the league, and then he doesn't succeed according to expectations, unreasonable expectations, then he winds up getting traded around the league and becomes a journeyman. We've seen example after example. But see, this graph here shows it all. Just tells it all. Check this out. Of all the one and done players who have been drafted into the NBA from 2006 until the present, 24% of those players have been considered flops or bust or unsuccessful. 27% of those players who came in as one and done were big contributors. So we talking about he may come in and spot the starters or high-level reserve for a couple minutes, maybe due to injury or whatnot. He may be asked to, focus on defense and rebound and whatnot. Somebody like that, big contributors. He doesn't get a lot of playing time. 37% of the players drafted into the NBA since 2006 is one and done. 37% are rotation players. 37% are rotation players. And then only 12% of those players who were drafted to the NBA as one and done since 2006, they proved themselves to be stars and superstars. Now, if you had a ratio that it was flipped around where 37% of the one and done players drafted were became stars or proved to be stars and superstars, then you can say the system is working. Then you can say the system is appropriate. And because of allowing initially high school players, the flux of high school players to enter the league during the mid-90s up until early 2000s, and because of the one and done system, well, they had to modify the rules to create a more open style of players they call freedom of movement that benefited perimeter-oriented players like guards and wings, right? And as a result, the center position, the importance of the center position became undermined, and centers became bigs. Someone who you can lob the ball to, or rim protectors. This would happen when you try to accelerate the process of developing a player in the NBA. You don't see this in Major League Baseball. You will never be able to advance to the Major League Baseball level or the majors unless you can hit a curveball and unless you can field on defense without committing a lot of errors. Same thing with football. They're not going to draft nobody 18 years old to the NFL because their body won't be able to hold up. They'll be done within 2 years. But this graph shows it all and why they need to, I believe, eliminate the one and done rule and then come up with a compromise and say a player is required to gain at least 2 years of intermediate basketball experience before they're allowed to enter the professional ranks, whether it's college or G League. I would prefer college because I think in college you experience like rivalries, big games, conference games, tournament games, Final Fours, pressure. You learn how to win as the star player, as the leading player. This graph shows it all right here. 12% of all the one and done players have proven to be stars or superstars. That's not good enough. And that just shows the flaw in the system and why they need to eliminate it. Now, will they? Probably not. But I believe it'd be better for the game. It'd be better for the game of basketball. It'd be a better experience for the fans because what happens is you bring in a guy, 19 years old. It's going to take about 3-4 years to ascend. Fans get impatient. Media gets impatient. Organizations get impatient. And they start trading young players off and don't let them develop in time and want established stars. Next thing you know, you're craving for a super team. It's because a lot of the root of it is because of this one and done system. So the numbers don't, as they say, numbers don't lie, or Rasheed Wallace used to say back in the day, ball don't lie. Well, numbers don't lie. They need to eradicate this and implement a rule where it's not about age, it's about experience. 2 years of intermediate basketball, and you're going to see a better product, more balanced play, more sound offense instead of shooting threes all day. It's going to elevate the college game again because the college game is taking a hit over the years because it's one and done rule, because top players aren't staying at the collegiate level long enough to really prepare themselves for professional basketball. So that's my take on it, and I just wanted to show this graph. As they say, the numbers don't lie. But this is JB right here, and until next time, BTB, behind the bench.